All right, welcome back. Today we have another deck profile, and today we are back in GOAT format. So we're looking at this deck. It goes by a number of different names, generally just called Beatdown. Some people call it Zoo Beatdown, but after Zodiacs came into the TCG, people have kind of taken the name Zoo to mean Zodiac. So now a lot of people call it Beastdown because it deals with a lot of beast monsters, I guess, generally. But yeah, let's get into the profile. For those of you who don't know, GOAT format was basically April 2005 ban list. So you see a lot of classic cards like BLS being played. Scapegoat obviously is kind of the namesake of the format, and then you had a lot of power one of spells and traps. So things like Call of the Haunted, Mirror Force, Torrential Tribute, Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, things like that were kind of all at one. So that was basically how the format went. It was a little unfair to some people, but a lot of people say it's a lot of fun, and I tend to agree. But every now and then, just someone, going from Graceful Charity to Delinquent Duo to Pot of Greed is kind of not really too fun, but nevertheless, let's get into this deck profile. So this was one of the more popular decks to play in Modern. It wasn't exactly played too much when actually the format was around in 2005. So you won't see a ton of deck lists from back then. This was something that people more or less came up with just to play the strongest monsters in the game. So our first one is Berserk Gorilla, and obviously he's really good because he's a 2K beater, which there's not many in the game at this point, or at least not many without significant drawbacks. So pretty much if he's in defense, you have to destroy him, but that's like a pretty minor drawback. And we also play Skill Drain in the deck, so generally this guy is never really that big of a problem. He's just a great card to play if you're playing any sort of beatdown, right? So you want to play him at 3. Similarly, Giant Rat, we want to play at 3. He's just really good to be able to kind of keep pushing. That's kind of the idea of a beatdown deck, is to play strong monsters and then play monsters that can just keep regenerating monsters. So he just lets you get an Earth monster from your deck when he dies. So pretty good card. Definitely want to max out on him. Next, we're gonna play 2 Enraged Battle Ox. Another great beater. He's 1700, so near the top of a normal summon attack stat wise, and also he allows you to do piercing damage with actually any Beast Warrior or Winged Beast. So that actually could come up, especially considering how popular Scapegoat is. So having all these GOAT tokens and just being able to pierce through with like 17 and kill the monster, I mean it's a pretty huge power swing there. But generally you'd rather probably see Berserk Gorilla or Giant Rat. You don't want to see too many of these guys because they're not really going to gain you any advantage, and Berserk Gorilla is 2000, Giant Rat gets you a monster. This guy is just, it's nice that it does piercing, but it's not, it doesn't have any other effects that actually kind of gain you any sort of advantage. So that's why I'd probably play him at 2. Same with Abyss Soldier. We'll play 2 of those and then 1 Breaker. So pretty much these, in a way, kind of do a similar thing. So Breaker's probably the better one. So basically, you get a spell counter on it once you summon it. It goes up to 1900 attack, and then you can remove that spell counter to destroy a spell or trap. And then Abyss Soldier, you can discard a water monster and then return any card on the field to the hand. So Abyss Soldier is kind of situational, but it can deal with a monster or it can deal with spell and trap. So these are all kind of spot removal cards, and then pretty much for some more monster removal, you can use Exiled Force to just tribute a card, and then or tribute this card, and then destroy any monster on the field. And then for additional monster removal, we have Bazoo and Tribe. So again, these guys generally just removal. This makes you discard a card, and then you can destroy all cards of a certain type on the field. And then this card basically lets you to banish 3 monsters in your graveyard. It's kind of interesting because, so on this first printing here, it says 3 cards. And actually, it got an errata in 2004. So for GOAT format, you have to play it where it says banish 3 monsters from your graveyard to basically buff this guy up. So yeah, and for our level 3s, we'll play Injection Fairy Lily and Sangan. This guy's a staple, obviously. He has not been errataed yet, so you don't have to worry about any sort of not using the effect or anything like that. You can just search any monster you want. That's 1500 less attack. And then this definitely comes up. Pretty much all these cards are limited to 1, so, but being able to increase this up to 3,400 attack points is pretty good. So that can get over just about anything in the game just with a direct attack. So you don't have to worry about really, you know, there's almost no monsters really that can probably actually stop this unless it's a fusion monster from the fusion deck. So that's pretty much all of the monsters you want to play. Sinister Serpent is our last one. He's kind of a monster. You sometimes use him, but you mostly just use him for discard fodder. So you can use him in combination with Abyss Soldier or in combination with Tribe. That works really well. Or you can use him in combination with some spell and trap cards. So that's all of our monster cards. Now moving on to the spell cards. Playing 2 Nobleman of Crossout. This is a great card. Basically, there's a lot of flip monsters in the game, so not only is it spot removal, but it allows you to destroy a face down, and it won't get its flip effect. And then if it is a flip monster, banish all copies from deck. So the only thing you have to watch out for is it banishes all copies from both players' deck. So if you hit like a Magician of Faith or something, which this deck doesn't play, but if you hit, I guess, literally any other monster that this deck plays. So it's pretty much much better to play in this deck than other decks because we don't actually play a lot of flip monsters. But I'm trying to think if there's actually any. Actually, there might not be any. I'm looking through here. Yeah, I don't think there's actually any. Yeah, so this is just gonna be free. So that's actually really good. So you don't have to worry about banishing any of your own flip monsters. We'll play 2 Book of Moon. Again, just being able to slow the game down. A lot of monsters will have higher attack than defense in this game, so just being able to flip them lets you get over them. But another great advantage of this card is that if your opponent is going to attack, or let's just say even crash and trade monsters or something, this just slows your opponent down, so you're able to gain advantage in terms of card advantage, like monster advantage on the field, and that's pretty much the main goal of this deck, is to just maintain monster field advantage. So really good card. Definitely important to play. We'll play 1 Heavy Storm, 1 MST. Again, just really good to kind of wipe out the back row. You really don't want to hit by a Mirror Force or a Torrential Tribute. That pretty much slows down the pacing of the deck, so that's a really important card to play. Snatch Steal and Premature Burial. Again, just getting monster advantage is pretty huge for this deck. And then we have, I guess, people like to call the Trinity. I think, you know, it's a little bit overhyped. I think a lot of the other spell cards and magic cards in the game are really good too. But these just are like sheer card advantage cards. So obviously they are really, really powerful. So I mean, this, you know, drawing, ripping, and then drawing are just really, really huge. But you know, they don't let you do as much with one card as you could today. But having more cards obviously is always better. So that's all of the spell cards. Now moving on finally to the trap cards. So 3 Trap Dust Shoot. This is one of the few decks that actually mains Trap Dust Shoot. I would say most decks in Go format probably should be siding Trap Dust Shoot. It's just like a really, really good card to play in general. So if your opponent has more than 4 cards in their hand, you can look at their hand and shuffle a monster back into the deck. So pretty much, you know, if you're going first, they're gonna have 6 cards, right? So, and almost always they're gonna have a monster. It would be pretty crazy if they didn't. So you're pretty much always gonna trade this as a 1-for-1, and then if you even have 2, you can probably use 2 going first, you know. So getting them down to 4 cards it's a pretty good trade. Obviously, the hand knowledge is probably just as important as ripping a monster out, but yeah, but being able to rip a monster out that like would just destroy your board or be a huge problem, like something that's either like if a breaker is just, you know, gonna be 1900, or if they have like a tribe affecting virus, like, you know, like I said, just trying to keep field advantage is really, really important in terms of your monsters for this deck. Similarly, we're going to play 3 Sakuretsu Armor. So this just trades, again, a 1-for-1. If your opponent's attacking, you just destroy their monster. So again, just building that field advantage, having as many monsters as you can on your field, and just not allowing your opponent to really attack your monsters or really build any sort of advantage of their own. So Skill Drain, this deals with most of the problem cards in the game. So, you know, if you just have a Berserk Gorilla, which is 2k attack, your opponent can't easily use like cards like Tribe Infecting Virus. They can't really activate the flip effects if you were to attack into a Magician of Faith. So all of that really, really comes up. We don't really rely too heavily on effects. So having Skill Drain, we can pretty much easily play under that. And paying 1,000 life points is a pretty low cost to actually have almost a win condition. It's, you know, it's not going to guarantee you the win, but it's going to be pretty close. It's going to be pretty hard for your opponent to deal with this unless they have direct Spell Trap removal, because obviously a card like Breaker won't really be able to deal with it. So you have to draw pretty much MS tier heavy. So, and now we have, I guess, the 4 power 1-ofs. If you want to call them that, of the trap cards. We have Call, Torrential, Mirror Force, and Ring. So these 3 pretty much just allow you to maintain card advantage, right? So you can just spot removal this, potentially wipe their whole field if they're not careful. And this is kind of the emergency button. If you know, if they start to build an advantage, you can just clear the field, and then next turn just drop a beater and kind of start that growth process again, where you just kind of slowly build advantage over time. And Call of the Haunted, again, just to get you 1 more monster back on the field. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. It's a lot of fun. It counters Goat Control pretty well. So just having like a constant flow of monsters, it's hard for a Goat Control to really establish a board, because you're able to just attack through so many things. So but yeah, I mean, this is a build I saw online, and I kind of was messing around with it a bit. But I'm probably still going to change a couple things. But if you have any suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments. And yeah, if you like these profiles, be sure to drop a like on the video, and then subscribe for more deck profiles. So, yep, thanks.